So while I was doing PhD in 2013, I got some viral fever, and because of the viral, I went into a coma. Nobody knew what exactly, when the doctors didn't know why I went into a coma, but that happened. 4 days I was in a coma, but I came out of it. Till today, I don't have a diagnosis. What happened? I am living with thalassemia intermedia, which is a blood disorder, since the last 44 years. So I've been diagnosed at the age of 4, and I have since then been on blood transfusion, monthly blood transfusions, iron chelation therapies, and I've gone through a long list of complications but come out of everything successfully. Thalassemia is a blood disorder where the body does not produce the required amount of hemoglobin, which means that a person with thalassemia tends to get anemic every 15 days or 20 days or even 1 month. So at that point in time, we need to go in and take blood transfusions, external blood transfusions. So we are dependent on donors for blood transfusions, and that's a lifelong condition. I didn't know much about, as a child, I didn't know much except that once a month I would go to the hospital to take blood transfusion. So my family made sure that, I was perfectly, lived like a normal kid. So they didn't stop me from doing anything. So I went out, played, I learned swimming, I learned how to play badminton, table tennis. I was always on the streets playing, nothing different. Yes, I had to be very careful, especially as I would catch infections. So that was one thing that we had to be careful about, and I should not strain myself too much. But I don't think I ever paid attention to that. So I grew up playing a lot of sports. I used to play basketball in school. So mm, challenges like any normal kid, usual viral fevers, cold cough. Apart from that, I don't think during my younger days I faced the big challenges that I face now. I never used to think that thalassemia will impact me. I used to think, okay, I'm like any other normal kid. So at the age of 26, I fell from the bike and I fractured my right hip. I had to undergo a surgery with 3 screws. And I was like, it's a small fall. Why did this happen? And then the doctors told me, no, your bones are weak because of thalassemia. And I was like, this was the point when I was like, what is happening? I couldn't get a grip. So I thought, why me? All the usual levels, because I had to stay at home for 3 months recovery. Almost 6 months I was at home recovering. It took a long time to recover. So that point was the lowest point. And after that, one of the challenges came. So while I was doing PhD in 2013, I got some viral fever. And because of the viral, I went into a coma. Nobody knew what exactly, when the doctors didn't know why I went into a coma, but that happened. 4 days I was in a coma, but I came out of it. Till today, I don't have a diagnosis what happened. So that was another very low point. Subsequently, many things have happened, like endocrine disruptions, and right now I'm like struggling with weight gain, and even the doctors don't know why. So these are the challenges that, but of course, for weight gain, I can't say why me. It happens to everybody. Till 2006, I was not connected to the thalassemia patient community because I always kept myself isolated. I never identified with the community. That's a very bad thing, actually, because the community is what gives you support. When you see like-minded people, or people suffering from the same condition, all coming together, that's where you draw your strength. And I think that 2006 was a turning point because I started taking interest. I started, looking out for other patients who went through the same thing. I found a lot of people. I found friends in Pakistan. I found friends in the US. I found friends in Egypt, and everybody rallied around me, though we were miles apart. So I think the community, the Asian community, gives me strength. And when I see the younger kids and they look up to me like, okay, you've reached this, we want to also do PhD. So that's what keeps me going. I think that will continue to keep me. Please don't give up on your studies. Please don't give up on your career, because that's the one thing that will actually, make you look forward to being a professional, being like anybody else, which is what I am. So always hang on to your studies, hang on, have a career path, and do everything that anybody would do. So I'm hanging out right now, giving this interview in a cafe. This is one of my favorite places in Bangalore for hanging out and having lunch, etc. I prefer, having these kind of interviews and talks in a cafe because I don't want to be medicalized. Every time people approach us in hospitals, I said, this is not the place to take an interview. We do everything that a normal person would do. Things will pass. We can overcome. We just have to keep a positive mindset. So we've been fighting a battle all our lives. We don't want to lose the battle. We want to continue the battle. So just keep going.